Weekly News. Weekly News.
Education, politics,
Economics, culture. Weekly News, a roundup of national news of the week on Renouveau TV every Saturday.
Weekly News, the news to English speakers.
Very happy to join with you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on Weekly News. Once more, welcome on Renouveau TV. Security situation in the center. The movement Bagineso held a press conference last Sunday to denounce the steps taken by the governor of Mopti and some authorities of the country in the management of the conflict. It also expressed its indignation at the press article by Jeune Afrique accusing the self-defense militia Dana Amasago of being the author of the attack of the village in the region of Segu. Details. Faced with the journalists, the president of the movement Bagineso took stock of the initiative to support communities victims of inter-community conflict. Hamidou Jimde also denounced accusations against Dana Amasagu. As a leading part of the management of this crisis, the movement Bagineso is indignant at the attitude of certain actors. In sum, the movement Bagineso recommends the disarmament of all illegal orders of war weapons and to take the necessary measures to protect civilians threatened by the violence. Held this week at Salam Hotel of Bamako, the annual review of the local governance support program, Year 3. It was for the organizers to analyze in retrospect the action undertaken in 2018 and to draw new perspectives to maximize the result of the project and ensure a better impact of the support on the living condition of the Malian population. Details. This program, which is in its third year, contributes to the advancement of the decentralization process in Mali by improving public finance management procedures in order to prevent corruption.
This program, as I said, is a local governance program, and it has three major components. The first component is to strengthen financial management systems. The second one is to improve coordination and communication between government entities, but also between the central government and the subnational level, and the government in general and local civil society organizations. The third component is related to audit, and we work very closely with the Control General des Services Publics. It's like the GAO in the US system, where we help them to master new skills in conducting performance and conformity audit. I think, like as they said in Bamana, I like a Bambara proverb, they said, it's through union that we could do, we could make change. So this program is based on a theory of change. The major hypothesis is to have the willingness of the government to advance decentralization.
Mali SNCP intervenes in a context where the government of Mali is more than ever committed to forging a democratic future by completing the process of decentralization. Remember that this meeting was animated by the presentation of a sketch and a performance of Geneva Sek in the colors of the event. Sensitization against the consequences of irregular migration. After the District 5 and 3, the Communal Council of Commune 1 received this Friday the sensitization team of the Information and Awareness Project on the risk and dangers of irregular migration and the promotion of the free movement of people in the ECOWAS area. The working session permitted the neighborhood notables and the communal councillors to be more informed of the consequences of this scourge. Report. Nearly 70,000 illegal migrants in search of well-being lost their lives only in the Mediterranean between 2013-2018. Faced with this catastrophic situation, the European Union and its partners have engaged in the fight against the plague. To raise the awareness of grassroots actors, the Information and Awareness Project on the risks and dangers of irregular migration emphasizes the proximity approach through opinion leaders, among others the community neighborhoods, traditional notabilities, imam, preachers and priests, traditional communicators, women organizations. This project is financed by the European Union with 3 billion CFA francs over 3 years and executed by Spanish Corporation in collaboration with the Ministry of Mali and Overseas. It intervenes in the region of Kai, Sikasso, and the district of Bamako. The Minister of Communication in charge of relations with institutions, spokesman of the government, continues his field visit. After the professional group of communication agency WEEKK, the Minister Yaya Sangare was on Tuesday of the High Authority of Communication to inquire about the working condition of the staff and explain the mission of its department. Commentary. To show all its availability to the members of the high authorities of the communication and take advice from them in order to provide adequate answer to a certain number of questions. This is the main purpose of this visit of the Minister of Communication in charge of relations with the institution, spokesperson of the government, to the high authority of the communication, an exercise that reassures the regulatory body of the Malian media. After this step, direction to the Monitoring and Control Center. Impressed by the quality of the facilities, the Minister Yaya Sangare expressed his satisfaction before pointing out that the challenges are huge. It should be noted that Mali and Togo are the two countries in West Africa to benefit from the latest media monitoring technology. Mali, like all African Arab countries, celebrated today, May 25th, African Liberation Day. The Minister of African Integration organized this morning a flag-raising ceremony at the Tour de l'Afrique, opportunity for the Prime Minister, Dr. Boubou Cissé, to pay tribute to African founding fathers. Bad news, the National Assembly in mourning. The president of parliamentary group, Vigilance Republican Democratic, Modi Jai, passed away. Member of parliament elected in the electoral district of Baraweli under the colors of the URD, Modi Jai died this Friday morning following a long illness. Vice president of the main opposition party, the Union of the Republican Democratic, his position marked the history of the 5th legislature. Rest in peace, Honorable Njai. This is the main information of the week, and now we go to the second part of the week, which is the guest of the week. Rising of Peace, Justice and Dignity. Kumba, good evening.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. Welcome on Renouveau TV. So, as you are coordinator of African Rising of Peace, Justice and Dignity, what do we understand by African Rising? What is it?
Africans Rising for Peace, Justice and Dignity is a movement of people, organizations, institutions across the African continent and in the diaspora, working together for peace, for justice, for dignity. It's basically a movement for African liberation. We are ready to build a solidarity among movements across geographies, but also across priority, all for the, having the Africa we want, an Africa with shared prosperity.
Okay, so today, May 28th, symbolizes the African Liberation Day. It's celebrated every year. Now, what do you understand more about this day?
25th of May is Africa Day, Africa Liberation Day, and this is the 56th celebration of Africa Day. So since the beginning of what was called the OAU, that moved to become the African Union, Africans Rising decided to use this day to be our launch day since the beginning of this movement 2 years ago. And being clear that the liberation of Africa is not done, it's not finished, because people before us have fought against slavery, for independence, but still today we are living on a continent where a lot of people live in not dignified conditions. And to us, bringing together people and building a movement, a new movement that push for the completion of African liberation is what we strive for. And 25th of May is a symbolic day. Today, as we speak, today in Mali, Africans Rising with its partners, members, have more than 130 events happening on the continent and in the diaspora.
Okay, so do you have a specific theme chosen for this year, the celebration?
Exactly. This year, we chose the theme of slavery and human trafficking. We need to pull together all the forces of Africans to fight against slavery and human trafficking. And when we say slavery, we talk about slavery in different ways. Of course, we have to recognize the historical slavery that has been happening, that was happening on this continent, and the Atlantic slave trade. And we know that still today there has not been enough work to bring the work of memory that needs to be done, the work of reparation, so much work that needs to be done on that one. But we also have practices of slavery on this continent that still are happening in our communities. In all, at least of West Africa, we know of communities where people are still born into slavery, and we say that needs to stop. We also struggle and fight against the slavery, the modern type of slavery, that is human trafficking, that address and that touch most of the time many of the young people of Africa who are trying to immigrate, trying to leave the continent and find themselves into slavery.
So this year you chose Kenya and Mali to celebrate this. Why the choice of these two countries?
As I said, we have 130 events in 56 countries, 48 of them on the African continent. But Africans Rising decided that Mali will be the main country where we will have the main event. Why? Because here we have people who are standing against slavery and who are doing the work that is needed. We come in support of movements, and in Mali there is a movement. The organization Temet has been fighting since 2007, and today Gambana, there are movements against slavery of people who say enough is enough, we will not accept slavery. So we are coming to support those movements that exist and that are strong, to say to the government of Mali, you have in Mali people fighting for slavery, you need to support them.
Okay, so now exactly during the day as today, the May 25th, what are the different activities you do?
We come from a big gathering organized by Temet that invited people from Niger, from Mauritania, from Burkina Faso, people from all over Mali, coming from different regions of Mali, the north of Mali, but from also the region of Kai, to come together to discuss this question about slavery and human trafficking. What should we do? We heard today people bringing witness to their own case. An old man standing across of us saying that because he dared to say, I am not anymore a slave, I'm not going to accept to work for you for free or pay you money, that he was hit by people in his community. And Temet as an organization have been supporting, helping them. A whole community have become refugee in Mali, having to leave their village because of refusing to live under slavery.
Okay. Now, when you try to see, do you fight against neo-colonialism also?
Of course. We are here to fight for African liberation. Anything that ties down, including colonialism, neo-colonialism, anything that does not let us benefit from the riches of our country, we are fighting against. But specifically today, we are addressing issues inside our communities where injustices that are of another time. No one can believe the type of stories we are hearing, that people are not able to cultivate their fields because they're chased out of their communities because they said that we are not slaves anymore.
We are not slaves anymore, okay, but today when you try to see, today symbolize also the day we can pay tribute to our founding fathers. like Kwame Nkrumah, Modibo Keita, and other people. But today, they fought for African unity. Do you think that today African unity is also possible?
African unity is not only possible, it's necessary. Yes, we pay tribute to the people that came before us, that fought for our independence. The women and the men who fought against colonizations of French, of English, of Portuguese colonization, people who fought for the apartheid system to be stopped in South Africa. We recognize and lift up all of the work that they do, and we realize that they did it in very difficult condition. But we also know that the work is not finished. The work is not done. We did not achieve African unity. We have failed to come together to be one continent. We are still broken down into pieces. We are still living under the domination of our former colonizers, and that we need to change.
Yes, we need to change. There is really a difficulty because at any time our leaders try to resist against these Western people. They try to eliminate them. When you see Thomas Sankara, Modibo, and Kwame Nkrumah, Muammar Gaddafi, anybody, any leaders, African leaders who try to resist against them to free Africa, they eliminate them. So in this case, how can we be free, totally free Africa?
It doesn't stop. It's not because you kill Sankara that other Sankara will not rise. It will not stop. We will not stop fighting until we are free, because freedom is what human beings are born for. So as long as it will take, as hard as it will be, there will always be Africans, and there are still today many Africans who are rising to fight for their own freedom. So we will continue to fight, we'll continue to build solidarity among each other, and we will make sure that our children and grandchildren will live in a better condition that we are. That's what our grandparents did for us, because they used to live in a place where they could be chained or where they could be treated under colonial rule in a way that we could not imagine today to happen. So it is our job to do our part so that our children and our grandchildren live even better than what we have.
Today, when you try to see, we have in many African countries, there are colonizers, military. In Mali, MINUSMA, Balkan, many other military from Western, the same case in other African countries. So in this case, can we say no to colonizers?
We have to say no to colonizers, as hard as it is. We need to challenge our leaders, our government, to defend our interests, to be more courageous, to be ready to die for us because they decided to be our voices. We have to make sure that the decisions about what is good and what is bad from our communities are taken by those who have our interests at heart. And yes, it's not easy. They have more than us in terms of power, arms, money, and we know that in many ways our resources are why they are here. But that does not stop us. We have to continue. We cannot let it happen. We have to make it hard for them to exploit us.
Okay, now if you are asked to give a speech to speak to Malian population, what will you say?
I will say to Malian population, let's cultivate justice in our families, in our communities, between each other. Because from justice is born peace, and is born solidarity and the love that makes us even strong to face the outside. The Western that we talk about, we have to start inside. We have to make sure that we respect our brothers, our sisters, our children, that we value our own lives. When we start with that, we are strong to face anything else.
Okay, your last words.
My last word is 25th of May, we calling every African, every Malian, every person who is in love with justice to join movements, to be engaged, to come together, because everything that we see today that has changed, some people have come together and worked to make it happen. It didn't fall from the sky. If we've done it before, we can do it again.
If we done it before, we really need it today. So that means we're going to put an end to this program here. Our guest was Kumba Toure. Kumba Toure is coordinator of African Rising of Peace, Justice and Dignity. Once more, welcome here on Renouveau TV. So
thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So, fans of Renouveau TV here takes an end. These are weekly news, and we hope to be together next time at the same time on the same channel. See you next time.
Weekly news.
Education, politics,
Economics, culture. Weekly news, a roundup of national news of the week on Renouveau TV every Saturday.
Weekly news, the news to English speakers.